Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Jason from Dropshipping University coming back at you guys with a brand new episode. In this episode, I'm going to be addressing one of the most commonly asked questions, which is why do some wholesale suppliers have anti-reselling policies for marketplaces only? So if you have ever gotten set up with a wholesale supplier and either in their terms or on the phone they have told you that you are not allowed to resell their products on eBay or Amazon or Etsy, pretty much all the major marketplaces, you might be left wondering why. What is the reason that they don't allow you to sell on those platforms? And this is actually a very loaded question, and it's also one of those things that is not always true. It's not uniformly true for all wholesale suppliers. And I'm even going to give you guys a pro tip, a script that I use to kind of get around this issue and how you can actually go and resell those products still on those marketplaces. So if this is something that interests you guys, stay tuned. I have a whole PowerPoint presentation ready to go. And if you guys could like, comment, and subscribe to this video, I'd really appreciate it. I'm going to actually answer every single question myself down in the comment section. Without further ado, we're going to get right into this. Okay, guys, I'm inside my computer right now, and I'm going to go over the 4 major components as to why one of these wholesale suppliers may not want you to resell their products directly onto marketplaces. eBay, Amazon, Etsy, those are the major marketplaces when they have policies that state that you shouldn't resell on marketplaces. That's mainly where they're talking about. I'm going to pull out my pointer right here and go along with you guys. So the number one reason, in my opinion, is that they want to monopolize the market. They want to sell the products directly with a retail arm that they might have in-house. So a true wholesale supplier traditionally just acted as the wholesale distributor. So they would take the products from a manufacturer and then pass on wholesale savings to retail or resellers like us. So retail supplies, stuff like what we're trying to do. We would be buying it at a wholesale rate, and then we would then sell it to the end consumer. That's traditionally how it went. But now, with how easy it is to sell on the internet and how easy it is to sell on Amazon and eBay, they have retail arms a lot of times where they can just go and directly sell those products themselves, cutting us out. And they really want to capitalize on that, because if they can buy directly from the manufacturer and then resell it on Amazon or eBay, their margins are much higher than if they were just selling to other retail companies like us at a wholesale rate. So they can get better margins and they can push out big volume. It makes a lot of sense. They want to capitalize on the entire market themselves, and with less competition means more sales at retail pricing. I have the little Monopoly man right down here. So the second reason is that they're trying to preserve the value of the brand. Now, this is a more legitimate reason to me. I don't so much respect the fact that a lot of these companies are just trying to monopolize the market. That kind of upsets me, but preserving the value of the brand is a much more legitimate reason. And this is what I've spoken to a lot of the reps on the phone. This is probably the thing that they say happens the most, which is a lot of companies will get into pricing wars, especially dropship companies like myself. We'll go on to Amazon, we'll go on to eBay and just keep undercutting each other. And Amazon, the way that it's set up with the buy box is that it really incentivizes sellers to undercut each other. One of the biggest reasons for why you would get the buy box is because your price might be lower than your opponents or your competition. So the person who generally has the lowest price will be more frequently posted into the buy box. And when that happens, pricing wars happen. And Amazon also makes it so easy for people to get into pricing wars because they have automated pricing strategies where I could go and undercut my competition by a penny based on that buy box price. And that really ramps up the amount of price wars that happen. And it's a large marketplace. So there's people competing all over the country, all over the world really, to sell the same exact products. And when you have a national marketplace like that, you can drive down the price a lot. It's good for the consumer, but for resellers like us, it makes things really difficult, and people will generally drive the price down to a point where they're really not making a lot of money, and this hurts the value of a brand. So if you're a manufacturer, you're a brand owner, you don't want the perception of your product to be very cheap or something that's not of high quality. And that's the reason that these companies put into place MSRP, which stands for Manufacturer's Suggested Retail Price, and MAP, which is Minimum Advertised Pricing. So those two things are very different. The minimum advertised pricing is what the manufacturer or the brand owner tells resellers that you can only put your product down to this level. So if you are selling a product that typically goes for $199, that's the MSRP, but they might also state that their MAP policy is that you can never go below $174.99. Maybe you're running a Christmas sale or some type of holiday sale. They put in a little leeway in there so that you can actually make more sales during promotions, but they put a floor, they put a bottom threshold of how much you can sell that product for. And if you don't respect the MAP, then you can get yourself into some big trouble. And I've gotten myself into some big trouble by not respecting the minimum advertised pricing. So you always want to abide by those rules. Generally, when you get set up with a wholesale supplier, they will give you the MAP for the products that you're selling. Now, a lot of wholesale suppliers will have brands, tons of different brands. So you're supposed to ask or be supplied with an MAP policy for each one of the products that you are reselling. So just keep that in mind and understand this is one of the big reasons that a lot of these suppliers don't want you to be selling on Amazon and eBay, is because you can effectively devalue another company's product or brand. And that really can hurt some big companies, so you got to respect that. And the next one is the fact that you're going to require more support as a marketplace seller. And this is just the nature of the beast, because Amazon and eBay have very, very strict metrics that you have to keep up. You have to keep your order defect rate at a certain percent. You have to be answering messages. You have to be doing a lot of returns and refunds, exchanges. There's a lot more that they keep in line when it comes to metrics. So when you go back to your wholesale supplier and you say, hey, you guys sent a broken or defective product, or I need to return this product because the customer no longer wants it. That is a very typical thing that happens on marketplaces, especially if you're doing any sort of volume. So for them to have a dedicated rep or a dedicated team dealing with all of these suppliers or all these resellers coming back and asking for extra support, it puts a large burden on some of these companies. And if they can eliminate that, that's what they'll do, is they'll just say, we don't want to deal with any resellers for marketplaces, because typically you guys require a lot more service, a lot more customer service than our regular brick and mortar suppliers or brick and mortar retailers, or our regular just Shopify store owners, because they don't have as high of expectations. It's weird because you want to give as great customer service as you can on those marketplaces so that you can stay competitive, but at the same time, the wholesale suppliers don't generally have these huge teams to give you the necessary support to get this whole process going. So higher refund and return rates, faster shipping and handling time, less experience, and require higher onboarding bandwidth. And that's just one of those things that I've talked to a lot of these wholesale reps, and they have told me time and time again that the onboarding time, the resources that it takes to get you up and ready, and then for you to just, not sell any of their products, that's a waste of their time. And unfortunately, a lot of drop shippers who are selling on marketplaces are not really that serious about it. So if you're a wholesale supplier and you have 20 new drop shippers every single day coming and contacting you, you're eating up their time. And if you're not going to be making them money, they don't want to be in business with you. And it just becomes a stereotype, a prototype that they have about drop shippers for marketplaces. And to be honest, it's true. So I understand, again, why they would want to do that. And now we're on to the last reason here. And there's two parts to this. So one thing, which I actually did not know about, my business partner, Ecom Tom, let me know about this because he ran into this issue when selling on Amazon, which was that Amazon actually gets property of your images. As soon as you upload products onto the Amazon's catalog, they immediately gain ownership to the rights of those images. So if you're taking images from a supplier and then just uploading it directly onto Amazon, Amazon now has the rights to that. So that supplier no longer is the sole rights owner to those images. That can be problematic because obviously these companies want to preserve the integrity of all of the hard work that they've put in and all that kind of thing. So that's a big issue. I don't know if there's any way that these companies can get around that. I'm sure there's legal recourse if they really wanted to, but they're going up against some very big companies like Amazon. And the second part is the invitation to Chinese knockoffs. As soon as you start putting products that are selling well onto Amazon or eBay, you invite effectively Chinese knockoffs because these Chinese manufacturers and Chinese trading companies are scouring Amazon and eBay, constantly looking for new innovative products to rip off. And as soon as they get ideas, they're going to go and reverse engineer everything that they can from that product and then just sell it under a different name, a generic name, and take most of the cool aspects of that product and sell it for a lot cheaper. And that can also damage the brand, but it can also take away a ton of sales from that manufacturer and all the way up the supply chain, taking away a lot of the sales for everybody who's involved with moving that product. So that's honestly really understandable that these companies would see these things as really negative. And again, I want to reiterate, not all wholesale suppliers and not all brand owners and manufacturers say that you cannot sell on Amazon or eBay. The best case scenario is that you can actually contact a brand owner or a manufacturer and say, I want to be the exclusive resale arm of your business. And if you can do that, then you effectively monopolize the marketplace. It's very competitive. Everybody wants a piece of the pie. And then there's very few players that can actually gain control of the entire market. And if you can do that, you're in a great spot. And I've seen it happen a lot of times. It's a more advanced thing, but if you can get your foot in the door with a manufacturer and actually be the only person who's allowed to resell those products on a marketplace, you're in great shape because you don't have any competition. If somebody tries to jump on your listing, you can hit them with an IP policy complaint. I've had that happen to me and it's not a good feeling. So that's honestly where you want to be when getting to this. So one thing I will say, and this is a solution that I figured out over the last 3 years of wholesale dropshipping, when a company is leery about you reselling the products on a marketplace, whether it's in writing on their website, whether it's in the terms section of the wholesale agreement, or if it's just the general feeling that you get from emailing or calling them on the phone, this is the script that I use. It kind of gets my foot in the door so that I can effectively start selling their products on marketplaces. So this is how it goes. So they're going to say something to the effect of, where are you planning on selling our goods? And the script that I use, and I use this every single time, I've memorized this. I'm looking to resell your products mainly on our website. You're going to insert your website there. If you guys don't know about how to build a website for cheap, just go ahead and click. There's going to be an eye that comes across. I just recently put out a YouTube video on that, so check that one out before you look into this. So the second part is also sometimes we sell products on marketplaces like Amazon and eBay just as an auxiliary to increase sales. And what that does is the first sentence is very intentional. We're selling products on our website, okay? I'd say 95% of all wholesale suppliers are perfectly fine with that. You have your own piece of the pie carved out on your own Shopify store, your own website. You own that, and there's no pricing wars. There's no issues with, you destroying the brands like we talked about earlier. So right off the bat, they're happy about that. But then you kind of sneak in the second part of the sentence, which is sometimes we sell on marketplaces like Amazon and eBay just as an auxiliary to increase our sales, which isn't really untruthful, because if you are selling on your website, you are also selling on these marketplaces as an auxiliary. It's a secondary market that you're trying to reach just to increase your sales. And a lot of times these these wholesale reps are okay with that. And they'll say, all right, you sound legit. You sound like somebody we want to do business with. And then I also like to reinforce them with something to the effect of, we've done X amount of sales in the last month or X amount of sales in the last year. We have 3 or 4 years experience drop shipping products from manufacturers and wholesale suppliers on marketplaces. We know what we're doing. You want to reassure them that you know what you're doing as a resale company. And then if you really want to go that extra mile, you can also supply them with past sales results, past sales graphs from Amazon or eBay. That goes a long way. They know you're a real player. You're not just another person coming around trying to sell 1 or 2 products, or somebody who's going to come and destroy their brand. Bring up MSRP if you want to bring up MAP, and that will reassure them that you know what you're doing. So with that said, guys, I hope you got a lot out of this video. I know it's very confusing for some people when they first start out. Why are all these wholesale suppliers? Why don't they want to do business with me? I don't understand. This is one of those things that you really have to be confident about. You have to say the right things to the right people. And if you can do that, you're going to get your foot in the door. And if you can prove yourself as a good reseller, you're going to be moving volume for them. They're not going to question whether or not they want to continue doing business with you because they know that you can make them money and you're making money. Everybody's happy. That's what we're trying to get at the end of the day. So please post your questions below and I'm going to answer every single one of them. If you found this helpful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell notification so you guys can be notified every single time I put out new videos. And with that said, I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks.